Hello, all. Welcome back to Bistify. All right. So in my last video, we have talked about how we can provision EC2 machine with the help of AWS CLI, script, and Jenkins as a CI/CD tool. This time, we are going to touch Terraform in order to provision EC2 machine, and that would be done through Jenkins. So how you can do it? Let's go and give a quick look. Okay, so this is the GitHub repository I have. It's public repository. You can always clone it and fork it if you want in your system. And this is what I have for now. So in my last video, we have talked about what are the prerequisites you should have. So for not specifically for last video, but this video will require, this demo or setup will require Terraform installation on the Jenkins server or any node where you would like this job to be executed. So if you have any external node connected to Jenkins master, you can install your Terraform into it. And other than that, Jenkins Java is required, and then Git is required. You can install it on the server. And like I showed you in my previous video, it would be covered in the Jenkins Terraform in one go. All right, so this is your Terraform installation is already done, and IAM role is already attached to EC2 machine, so that Jenkins will have the permission to play with some AWS resources. It will have the permission. So now I have one instance running, which is Jenkins server, which is right here, and we'll create new item. But before that, I'll walk you through about the codes, what we have and what we are going to do now. So this is the main.terraform file. We have the required version here for the Terraform, and it should be greater than or equal to 1.0.0. And this is the provider. Although you can always have this provider.tf separate, but I have included in here because I have other files as well. And then we have security group creation here, resource AWS security group. This is the name of security group. These are the rules I have defined, inbound and outbound. And then uh, the last step is the EC2 AWS EC instance, and EMI we have taken it from the variables.tf. I'll walk you through on that file as well. Instance type is again on the variable, key name is again on the variable, user data is the path I have defined right here. We have the path here, so it defined we whenever we refer any file, so we call it file, and then in the um, brackets we in the double quotes we use that file name. All right, next is output. Output is nothing but once your apply is executed successfully, what you would get in return as the output. We will get instance ID, we will get public IP of that instance, we will get the public DNS name. You can customize it according to your needs, and that's not mandatory to have outputs, so that's fine. And then the Terraform TFVars. So TFVars and the variables are like almost same, but variables will have the keys, not the values here in this particular demo. Just accept this instance type, and the TFRs we have here the values defined. So AWS region I have chosen is according to where we are, and then the AMI ID instance type is T2 micro. So if you define here 3 T3 dot micro and your variable says T2 dot micro, it will still provision what we have in the Terraform vars file. It will Terraform vars file. It generally overrides the configuration over variables.tf. But the best practice is not to have anything defined in variables.tf. We prefer to have a tf vars file. Okay, and then we have the key pair name and instance type. That's all. The user data script we have what once your EC2 instance is up, while bootstrapping the EC2 instance, it will also try to install and enable your Docker, and it will run a simple image called infra nginx. So it will have the nginx uh, running nginx container, and it will serve the simple page. So once the EC2 is created, we will try to uh, look into the browser in the next tab what we get here in the public IP once your EC2 is created. It will be executed at the time of startup of EC2 machine initially, at the initial level, right? Last but not the least, Jenkins file. Jenkins file is nothing but to tell Jenkins what it should do with the codes. Again, pipeline agent is any. I mean, this is master, so we haven't defined any node labels here. So I said any. Parameters is what you do with the Terraform operations like name, apply, default value false, and description set to true to apply Terraform. You would come to know later when I scroll down. Let's first walk you through environment. So directory it is having is Terraform. So Terraform directory it is referring, and the stages is nothing but the checkout, GitHub, initiating Terraform, initializing Terraform, and in the same directory. And then we have Terraform plan, and then we have Terraform apply. So apply here is with the auto approve, so we won't get any option to say yes or no, although we can set it up like that. I'll try to cover it in my next video how you can have that enabled with a click on the Jenkins console output only. And then we have the readme section. This is what we have as a part of you know uh, um, setup initially. So one difference is in the readme section you would find that Jenkins credential for AWS. You can always have the access ID and access key and secret key configured on the Jenkins as well with the credential ID AWS creds, and accordingly you would modify or customize the Jenkins file to refer that credential ID in here with the syntax called with credentials. However, I haven't used it because I have IAM role attached to my EC2 instance or the Jenkins server. So my Jenkins will not require any specific keys because it already has permission through IAM role. So that's the recommended way actually to do it instead of defining the credentials here. You can always create credentials here. You would see the credential here in the admin section, and then uh, let, let it take time. Meanwhile, what we'll do, I'll walk you through from here only. So this is the credential ID. This is the ID that we would define with the name of AWS creds, and underneath we would have AWS access key as username and password as secret access keys, right? And this is the Terraform structure we have. And please make a note, when you use this in production, make sure you configure a remote backend, that is to store your Terraform state file in the S3 bucket, and that is with again an add-on feature like for state locking we set up DynamoDB. So backend for state locking is nothing but to be done through S3 and DynamoDB. We've already covered it in my Terraform playlist. You can have a look and try to understand how it works, right? And then we have these as a prerequisites, and again the same thing. So we have come here. Let's go to credentials. So whatever credentials I have created so far, I would be able to see it here only, and you can forward this video for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds because of the lag here, system lag. All right, so this is what I have created. If you remember in my last video, I have used this. We can always update it like this. We can delete it. And when it comes to adding the key, that is that you can do only with the configuring at the time of configuration of Jenkins pipeline. All right, so let's now begin with some hands-on. See if it works. So far, we only have one EC2 instance. I'm going to refresh it, and now I'll create new item, and my new item would be EC2 creation, or we can say EC2 TF. Oh, sorry for this slowness of the lag. All right, So I'll say demo EC2 with TF, okay, pipeline, and then I'll say okay. I've created a pipeline. Let's now configure it, and we'll configure it in the same way. We'll now copy it. We go to the GitHub code. We copy it from here only. Now come back to the configuration. Scroll down. We'll skip everything since we would like to prefer this to be done in a declarative way. So we'll use this Jenkins repository, and then we'll use this credential to interact with it, and the branch is again same, and it will refer Jenkins file to know what it should do next. All right, I have saved it, and let's now build it. So what our Jenkins file says? Our Jenkins file says it will have the environment as TF directory, which is nothing but the Terraform, and then it will check out and initialize Terraform and plan it, and then it will apply once the plan stage is done. So it will not ask anything here like yes or no because we have configured it in this way. Terraform apply hyphen auto proof. Let's see. Let's now try to build it. So if you know how to work with Terraform, and if you know how to keep it on GitHub, you can just have the Jenkins file created and create set it up on Jenkins console, and you're all good. Let me see the console output here. It says it has run successfully, and in just to give a belief on this output, we'll again analyze the logs. What it has done, it has checked the system, I'm sorry, the codes SCM, and then SCM for us is like git, and then it has fetched it, it initialized it, and it has also run the plan here. Plan shows we what your Terraform is going to do now. We have now here in between the user data is being executed. This is just a part of plan. It is not. It hasn't moved on to apply. Let's scroll down a bit. Here the plan is done. Now your Terraform apply skipped due to when condition. All right. So this Terraform apply is actually skipped. We it did not run any apply thing here. That's the reason it has completed so quickly. Terraform apply, and we don't have it here. Anything running? You can verify it. See, nothing in here. But the uh, pipeline is successful, so we are good here. But why apply thing did not work? Let's take a look. It says due to when condition. All right, I see it now. So I'll take a pause here. I'll modify this Jenkins file accordingly, and then I'll come back and walk you through with the rest of the steps. All right, I'm back. So this is where the incorrect configuration was. It is not actually incorrect. It is correct if we consider the production system because we don't generally hit apply in one go without any peer review, without getting the second review by the peers. So we already have it set as false, and I can make it true just for this demo. But you just if you are working on the enterprise level, you just keep it false just to escape the true, or else get the condition defined here so that you would get whether it is supposed to be. Just a second. Default value true. Okay, and we already have it in the description. We just overlooked it to see the demo. I'll do, I'll just push this code to the GitHub again. New terminal bash, and I'll say git add what file we have modified, Jenkins file, git commit fnm. I hope you are aware of it. Updated Jenkins file. So this is the condition it worked on. It actually followed what we have it in Jenkins file, and that's the core concept of Jenkins file. Whatever you define in it here, it will do exactly the same thing. I'll say push. Now I'll go back here and see if it is reflected in my Jenkins file. Now we have made it true. Okay, let's now we have the option to restart from this stage, and we have the option to replay. So let's do a replay, or you can do build now again. Just a second. What it says here in the build with parameters. See, so the parameter that we have defined here is apply. So if you hit click and you build it, it will actually apply, right? So this is the option we have set as a parameter. This is the parameter settings, and if I check yes, then it will run the apply stuff. If it is not, if it is even if I do it false here, and if you build it with parameters and if you check it, it will again build it with the apply execution. Anyways, let's build it like this. It is quite slow. Let me go to the console output to see if it is going through the apply execution. It has failed. Let's see why. All right, so it has the error. It says you're not authorized to perform this action because user this is not authorized to perform EC2 security group. So EC2 create security group. We are missing this permission on our this, so we can edit this. Let's copy this, edit policy, and I can say already have described groups. Let's do this as well, comma, and then we'll save this. Next, policy is saved. Let's replay it. I hope this time it goes through. Let's see. Again, let's give a look. It has failed again, I think, or it is running. Just a second. It is again failed. Let's see what it is saying now. All right, it is again missing the permission. This time it is revoke security group egress. And let me do one thing. Let's for now add permission, attach policies. And just for this particular video, I'm attaching EC2 full access. So it will have access to every other EC2 feature. And let's say add permissions. We now have EC2 full access. Okay. Now let me replay one more time. So it is not with the Jenkins or Terraform logic. It is something with the permission of your EC2 machine where your Jenkins is hosted. That does not have permission to spin up or to create or work with security group into your creation of security group. And if you remember when we were working, we were doing it from CLI, we already defined a default security group in there. So we already had security group to work with. That's the reason it did not give any error when we were working with AWS CLI. But at the time of Terraform, it is actually creating security groups. We haven't defined any existing security groups. So that's the reason it has thrown an error. This is really good. If you do the practical and you get the error, you learn something out of it. So that's good if you are getting errors. That's the reason I have showed you that what prerequisite you should have. So see, you should have the sufficient permissions. You can customize this inline permission only. You can define the permissions what is required. However, I have defined it based on the AWS CLI, and I haven't said that it just to create new things, but it had described things only. That means listing the things. But here, if we are creating security group, then you should have the create permission. Anyways, this time it says console output is successful. Let's see what it says now in the end. Okay, so your plan thing here. ran successfully. And then, okay, so from here, your apply thing is executed. And as an output, what we have defined in the output.tf, we have got instance ID, we have got DNS name, we have got public IP, and that's what we had in our outputs.tf. See, these are the three values we have defined: DNS name, public IP, and EC2 instance ID. And if you go to EC2 console, let's refresh this page. Now we have an EC2 machine that is provisioned through Terraform. Let's see if it has anything in here. Maybe HTTP. Okay, so it says the basic page of Nginx. And why we are getting this web page? Because we have defined this in the user data script. So when your EC2 actually provisioned at the time of the startup, it executed these scripts, and that's the magic of the user data. When you have something as the executable part here, you get the output like that only. So we have now container running. There is one container running in here. So if you log into that instance and do the docker ps, I'll show you. I'll copy this. I'll again say putty easy to have an user. All right, now I'll say docker ps in just a second. See, I'm in the root and there is one container running. We have it listening on port 80 infra nginx, and with the help of this command names entry point, and created 2 minutes ago. That's what where we, when we that's when our EC2 got created. And if you do docker images, you have one image nginx, and it's stable. It is image ID this.